This is another deck that I want to say, on the one hand, it's relatively unknown. On the other hand, I, as the Runick guy, have been getting a lot of inquiries about it. What I think of Ghoti Runick, and it's a deck that has been, I think this is the one that we're about to look at. It's top 8 at a regional in the US. And so we're going to take a look at it. On another note, let me get rid of all these Yugioh tabs. And then we do the same thing that we just did for Yugioh with Ghotis, because there's a couple cards in here that I'm going to have to refresh my memory on what they are about to do with them. All right, let's see.
What is going on, guys? This is Cyberhorn 92 here. I'm here with Phil.
RX.
And we're doing deck profile. And what place did you do at the Utah Regional?
I got 5th.
All right.
Fish.
All right. Before we get to the deck profile, you want to give any shout outs?
This guy.
Sam, you already know. All righty. All right. You ready for this deck profile?
Yeah.
All right.
So I played 1 Butunaful, 2 Shift.
Butunaful is just like Lone Fire Blossom for fish monsters, right? But it's it banishes itself, right? If I'm remembering correctly, it's like yeah, okay. However, Shift I need to read. Shift. Shift, Fairy of the Ghoti. Banish this card from your grave. Target a fish you control gains 500 during the standby phase of. Oh, that's just 1/1s. Okay. During your main phase, if this card was summoned this turn, quick effect, synchro summon using synchro summon a fish synchro using this card you control. Okay. So you just try to get it to the graveyard, banish it from there, and then it comes back in the next standby phase and allows you to quick synchro. All right, noted.
1 Paces, 1 Keep.
Keef is SP Little Fish, right? Flipper, thank you for the Prime. Appreciate that. Enjoy your ad-free viewing experience. All right, we have Paces. Banish this card you control to special a fish from your hand during the standby of the next turn after this card was banished. Okay, so this is the same secondary effect on this one, oops, as it was on the other one, right? Yeah. Okay, just different forms of how you get them banished. And Keef is the new one, which is if a fish is on the field, special summon this card. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, you can SP Little Knight. You can SP Little Knight them and special summon the banished monster. During the standby phase, after this card was banished, special summon this banished card. Okay.
1 Zep. 1
Zep. Yep, Zep. Zep, Ruby of the Ghoti. Banish this card from your hand. Target a fish in your grave. Banish it. During your opponent's turn, if this card's banished, you can special summon it. If this card is special summoned, you can immediately synchro summon a fish. Oh, okay. It's funny because they made this one slightly different than the other two, because the other two come back during the standby phase and then you can synchro summon whenever. This one stays banished, but you can bring it back at any point and then immediately synchro summon. So kind of similar, but also different in some ways, but okay. You banish it from deck during their turn. That's what's better about it. Yeah, you can, like, if you manage to banish this during your opponent's turn, you can bring it back at any point. So technically this guy, I mean, this guy is just better than the other two, I think, for the most part. Snopios. During the main phase, quick effect, banish 2 fish from hand or grave, special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you can target a face-up card in the field, banish it when it leaves the field. Banish it when it leaves the field. Okay, that's much worse than just banish it. If this card is banished, you can banish a fish from your graveyard, add this card to your hand. The thing is, the more of these I'm reading, the more I'm remembering that what I feel about this deck is that once you have all these things in rotation, I can see how your grind game and your interaction is crazy. Like, I can see that. But so far, I haven't seen a single card that helps me get going. I haven't seen a single card that helps me get these things into rotation yet.
1. How to pronounce that?
6. Moonlight of the Ghoti. If this card is normal or special, add a fish from deck to hand. Then banish a fish from hand or face up field. If this card is banished, you can banish a fish from hand, graveyard, or face up field. Special summon this card. You can only once per turn. Okay. Pack calls it pisses. I'm very happy you told me that.
That picks 3 lifeless leaf fish. So
Lifeless leaf fish. When this card is summoned, oh, it's Armageddonite for fish. It's Armageddon fish. Banish this card. Oh, that's a good card, technically. Armageddon fish, and then you can banish it from the grave to shuffle back 3 fishes and shuffle them into the deck, draw a card. That's good.
you either want to open one of these or one of these. Opening this with the Runick spell gets you full combo, and then this gets you full combo as well.
Okay, so Shift or Lifeless Leaf Fish plus a Runick is full combo, which on the one hand, that might sound great. On the other hand, that also implies that opening this is not full combo.
This card's insane.
Thank you for telling me that. That explains so much.
I played 2 Hopiers. It with a Runick spell is also full combo. When you're done doing like your fish extensions, you'll end up with like a level 8, and then you can make Baron or Sword Soul Chungus, and then you can like use the Runick spells to banish stuff, and then Chungus triggers. For the hand traps, I played 3 Ash, 3 Nib. They were just good overall. And then a couple 1-ups I played. Talents. The reason I'm playing the talents in here is because I was playing this guy at 2 earlier, and I don't think it really came up that I needed the second one. You rarely go into him, maybe like turn 3. So talents was fine. Called by very heavy hand trap format, so
I think Called By is going to be very good in any deck that isn't a Snake Eye deck, for sure. Like, in Snake Eyes, I find it a little more awkward because if you play a Snake Eye mirror match, like, in my opinion, the highest value target for Called By is either Promethean Princess or Flamberge Dragon. Especially, like, when you go second, like, using Called By on one of those two takes away a lot of their, you know, follow-up, disruption, whatever. The problem is if you're playing a Snake Eye deck yourself, obviously if you're forced to Called By a Promethean Princess, you're not going to be able to use it yourself, which heavily hinders your ability to play into the boards, and it also hinders your like disruption on the opponent's turn. So I find it awkward in Snake Eye to play Called By myself. Obviously it's good against hand traps, but I don't know, maybe it's still worth it, but like what I'm trying to say is in Snake Eyes, there are arguments against Called By because you can't use it so freely. In other decks, I think there's nothing that speaks against Called By the Grave. You should probably play it in almost any other deck in this format.
And then for the Runick engine, 2 Fountain, 3 Tip.
Oh yeah, show them.
3 Flashing Fire.
Yep.
3 Freezing.
Yes.
3 Destruction.
Yes.
3 Slumber.
Yes.
1 Dispelling and 1 Smiting Storm.
God, yes.
This deck is very consistent because just any combination of a Runick spell that gets you to a level 4, and then any of the level 2 tuners, so you just go full combo and extend.
Alright, so you're telling me 17 quick plays and 8 non-engine? Alright.
Let's go to...
Alright. That's not bad.
Is this 40 cards?
It is 40.
Thank God.
Do side deck now.
Okay.
So I played 3 Bell because of Snake Eye.
I hope they include a combo because I do want to see that. Because they talked about like one of the Lifeless Leaf Fish and one of the other, I think it was Schiff. They said like that plus a Runick is full combo. I want to see what they mean by that.
Cosmic, because just the best back row.
They don't have the
now.
combo. Sick. Phenomenal.
Hits all the random stuff. as well. The one Harpies. I think it won me a game against Orchist. The second Talents, because Talents is very nice going second. And hand trap heavy, just rip cards out of hand. 3 Droll, because combo decks are stupid.
You can do it on Master Duel? Wait, is all this in Master Duel? No, right? We don't have all the Ghotis in Master Duel, do we? No.
Tomb Phantasme. This card was probably one of the best cards on my side deck all day. And then Too Evenly. Never cited it in. Cut it. Gonna cut it for something else. I don't know. Probably a Floodgate or something. Yep.
You did not. You did not need to say that. But.
To the extra. So I played 2 Hugin, 2 J.
Okay, that was your backup message. Your first intention was I need to think of a dumb joke, but I couldn't think of one. So, like your content. Okay, I see. Good. No, appreciate that. Yep. Well.
Jerry's the best. 1 Cupid Pitch.
You should have just. You could have just used like. You could have posted your Ritual Beast deck list as the sub message. That would have worked.
There's a combo that you can do where you like have the Hugin, a level 2 tuner, and then you have another Runick spell in hand, so you use the tuner, make the Cupid Pitch, make it level 2, summon a...
Look, this works both ways. I also get to make fun of you sometimes.
4 for Jerry with the other Runick spell, Synchro 6. And then you can search Hopbeard Squadron with this and burn your opponent. So like that's your time card if you need it.
Did you ever win any games that way?
No, actually never summoned Cupid Pitch today, which is kind of weird.
Ow. Cupid Pitch? Dude, you're playing it... What? Whenever I'm playing, like... I think Cupid Pitch is such a broken card. But I never actually managed to find a target that was worthwhile for Runick decks. Because like Runick Synchro with Cupid Pitch is technically, I think, really good. But it just doesn't really... The Cupid Pitch targets are all slightly too low value, I feel like, when you actually do draw them, you know? But you're already playing a target for it. I have a hard time imagining... I mean, that's the... Maybe if you included the combo in the video, I would understand, but...
2 Arion posts.
Okay, I need to read this guy. Strider Arcade, think it would have said once. Ghoti. Arion Pos. Level 6. If this card is synchro summoned, you can banish a level 6 or lower fish from your deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can target a fish in your grave, banish that target, then add a fish. Is lifeless fish a tuner? Was that thing a tuner as well? Did I miss that? It's not a tuner. That would have been broken. Imagine. God, this deck actually, I'm gonna say it right now. If that thing was a tuner, this thing would be this deck be real. This deck would be real if that thing was a tuner. Like if I can just normal summon, if I could just normal summon. Okay, well. Anyways, this card is still good. Target a fish in your grave. Add a fish. Okay.
Just this card's where you get to you start your turn.
You're saying it's not real? No, I'm just saying I'm not convinced yet, but if the lifeless leaf fish was a tuner, I'd be very close, is what I'm saying.
Full combo is get your engine roll.
I can explain to you the entire combo. Let me finish the thing. Hold that thought. I want you to talk me through the combo. Yeah, in a second.
And once you get your engine rolling, it's kind of crazy. 2 Ass Can, targeting banish, targeting.
As can. If this card is synchro summoned, target a fish you control and a card your opponent controls, banish them. If this card is banished, you can banish a fish from your grave, special summon this card. You can only use each effect once per turn. All right. So, yeah. Solid, I guess solid disruption on the opponent's turn as a level 8 synchro.
Banishing is really good in
for
this
life.
format.
Thank you for the
so,
prime. Appreciate you.
Yeah, banished Fire King Island. Banished just something. This card overperformed today. Everyone summons.
Are Ghotis out in the OCG yet? Have they gotten their OCG support yet? Oh, that was Keith, right? Yeah, that just happened, right? Is that what just happened? That was the Keith and the other one, right? This, yeah, okay, this is the one. Yeah, okay. Because I was about to say, whenever this stuff comes out in the OCG, they're probably gonna give them a starter card, because it's funny how they made an entire archetype. They made an entire archetype and they were like, we kind of forgot to give them a starter card. We gave them all the grind game and all the interactions in the world, but starter card? Nah, man. They don't need that. White Aura Whale is something I'm not familiar with. White Aura. Oh, okay. White Aura Whale. 1 water tuner plus non-tuner waters. When this card is synchro summoned, destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. If it attacks a piercing, if it's destroyed, banish another. Okay. Okay. Fine. The last effect isn't once per turn. Right, so it's just like a very hard over. It's like a colossal fighter wall kind of situation. If you have enough fishes in the graveyard, right? If their main form of removal is destroying it by battle or card effects, you can just bring it back all the time. Yeah, okay.
Everything in attack position, and then just right you during your opponent's turn is kind of funny. And then they have to non-destruction out it, like comes back as a 2. And then you can go Yugioh and this into a 10.
Dude, don't call it Colossal Fishter. Colossal Fishter is not right. Okay, that's Ghoti the Deep Beyond. I know this one. This is the one that just blows up, that banishes all your opponent's cards, right? Ghoti the Deep Beyond. Synchro summon during your opponent's turn. Banish all cards on the field, and then it comes back. Okay, this is like Ghoti Zeroboros.
I summon this, and people are, what does that do? It banishes every card on the field, and then it's Chinging, Runick spells, plus if you have a fish on field, you can trigger with Shift, Banish, target a fish, give it 500 attack, trigger him. Baron, when you go to the turn 3, if you have a random tuner you didn't use last turn, use an 8, make Baron. Little Knight, you only need 1.
One funny thing about Little Knight, let me double check before I actually say something wrong. Yeah, Little Knight can banish stuff from your own graveyard too, which is something that hasn't really happened a lot or hasn't been relevant a lot. In this deck, I could see that happening at some points. Like at certain points of the first turn combo, you can like SP Little Knight and then banish one of your own fishies from the graveyard so that it comes back on the next turn. And then your end board basically has a Little Knight and then also has a has the banished fish that gives you advantage. That seems nice.
It comes up when you, because you spam a lot and you can clog your field.
It was very relevant to banish your Hugin to draw off regained. Oh yeah, I've done that a couple times, right? That's true. Yeah, that happens sometimes, right?
So Little Knight's nice to remove stuff from your main monster zones. And then Typhon.
Okay, so that's the list. Now, Dark Horse, walk me through the combo. They said in the beginning, they said that Leaf Fish or Shift plus a Runick is full combo. Walk me through Lifeless Leaf Fish plus Runick. What are we doing? And I'm gonna, since I don't have the cards, I'm just gonna look at whichever cards you say. Okay, any Ghoti level 2 tuner. Any Ghoti level 2 tuner plus a Runick. Runick special Gary Search Fountain. I assume you make, I assume you mean, what do you mean Runick special Gary Search Fountain? First step already, first step already confusing. Don't search fountain. Okay, so first things first, that is rule number 1. Rule number 1 of viability for a Runick deck is your first Runick has to summon Hugin. If your first Runick summons Gary, you're not viable in my book, because you're not baiting out hand traps. You're not making good use of the Runick engine, in my opinion. But okay, nonetheless, your combo is Runick summon Gary, normal the tuner, synchro into Aerion Pause, and then Aerion Pause banishes P6. Aerion Pause banishes P6, which is this other big dude. If it's banished, banish a fish from hand, grave, or field. Special summon this card, which is Aerion Pause banishes P6. P6 effect banish the tuner from the grave to special itself. P6 effect to add and banish a second tuner for SP Little Fish. Opponent standby phase, bring back fishes. Okay, so it's very... do you need it visualized? No, it was simple enough. It was simple enough for me right now, because it's very simple. It's only like three steps or something like that. You make a level 6 synchro. So the reason why I'm saying it doesn't, I don't like it in that sense is you're not actually making use of the Runicks for what they are actually good at, right? Like you're not actually summoning Hugin to grab fountain. You're actually just using it literally as a level 4 instant fusion, which, don't get me wrong, you can do that, and that is a fine usage of them, but I just don't think it's ideal, let's say it like that. Couldn't you use the Earthbound servant cards to get to Aerion Pass? I mean, you can. The problem is if you get to Aerion Pass, because what I was thinking is, what if we just play what if we played a Ghoti Runick deck that played level 4 tuners instead? Because that's the only reason why you have to summon Gary, is because your first synchro wants to be a level 6 synchro, right? So, and you play level 2 tuners mostly, right? So what if you went for level 4 tuners instead, for example, right? The thing is that if you go for a level 4 tuner, like let's use Quem as an example, right? Like you could theoretically go Quem into Hugin, into bring back another level 4 tuner, and then you could make Aerion Pass. The problem is then you don't have other fishes in your graveyard to even banish for the P6, right? There's been testing with Quem and it seems nice. Yeah, I could see it. With Cupid Pitch you can, yeah, with Cupid Pitch you can make Hugin first. One thing I want to say though, in general, like the ability to go into some huge combo plays with like opening a tuner plus a Runick, that is not something that is exclusive to this deck. Like, I can open a tuner plus a Runick in a variety of different decks and I can just pop off, right? Like there's like a dozen decks that potentially do that, right? It's very hard for you to to not pop off in any Runick Synchro deck when you go for those kind of lines. The only thing that it feels like is Rick Burp Sanchez, think with the 13 months. What I'm not happy about with this version of the deck is your ratios are not something that makes me happy, because like there seems to be a lot of engine requirements here that aren't great, right? Keef, not a tuner. The level 6s, not great. I don't know. I actually don't have these cards, but if you guys want, I can probably get my hands on them. I don't think they're any sort of like expensive or anything like that. And we can try it out. It seems like one of those decks where if you just theorize over it, which is very often the case. It's very often the case with Runick decks that like they work a lot different in practice than when you actually like when you think about them, like they're different. So yeah. Paces is like 7 per copy. Yeah, but you only need 1. I can probably get around to that. I might have one laying around somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember if we pulled it when I opened the set when it came out. I don't remember. Is that a Power of the Elements card? That was Pote, right? Where this came out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, I suppose, is I do see what you're trying to do. I understand it. And it's not a bad deck, I don't think. I just don't really see... Because there's so many potential ways you can use Runick cards. At this point in time, I don't see anything that sets this deck apart from other Runick variations. Like, what makes this better than Runick decks that already exist, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really see that. I don't really see that quite yet. What this deck can do better than other Runick variations. Banishing is really good at the moment. That is fair enough. Banishing is a good form of disruption, right? That is good. That is true. And you have a lot of that on the opponent's turn. You know, stuff like banishing Fire King Island, banishing the only Flamberge, banishing the only Garunix. Those are things that, especially if you're playing a grindy Runick deck, being able to like set these things up is definitely good. That is true. That is a fair point. This deck just feels like go first or lose. Maybe. However, I will say in the current format, that might just be a thing with most Runick decks, to be fair. In defense of this particular version, that might just be a general like Runick problem, right? The deck can board wipe really easily. I mean, the fact that Fire King Snake Eye doesn't end on any Omni Negates would make it so that you have an easier time resolving your banish effects, which is true. You know, that's not wrong. Yeah. I'm not happy looking at... I'm just not happy looking at a deck where basically what I'm seeing here is we're running 3 lifeless leaf fish, right? Because when you build a deck, essentially the way I look at it is if someone else builds a deck and they decide on certain ratios, I'm looking at it like if they put a card in there at 3, they want to draw it. And if they put a card in there at 1, they just want to like access it from the deck most of the time, right? Maybe they're okay with drawing it, but it's not a great draw. Otherwise, you'd be playing 3, right? And I'm looking at this, and like every single one of the Ghoti cards, they're only playing 1 or 2 copies, which makes me think like they want to draw lifeless leaf fish, but that's about it, right? Leaf fish in Runick Ghoti is wrong in my opinion. Why is that? What is like the, what do you even send with Lifeless Leaf Fish? Yeah, what is the combo with Lifeless Leaf Fish if it's not a tuner? Like what are we doing? It's a 1-card combo. You send Shift and then you SP banish your own Shift. Hold up. And then you pass? Or what? Yep. Yep, that's it. Okay, what about hold up. Hold up. What if we is there a way? Let me see. So, as far as I understand, the thing that holds back Arion Paws from being like generically good is that you need like a fish in the graveyard for it, right? If you don't have a fish in the graveyard when you make Arion Paws, banishing P6 is not great, right? Because you want to have a you want to be able to banish a fish from hand or grave to summon it, right? Is that the main thingy? Why don't we just play a level 4 fish tuner then? Hold up. Level 4 tuner fish. Eh? Didn't I click tuner? Tuner. Oh, excluded items. I'm dumb. Okay, this. Dude, there's only one. And you can't use it. Okay, that's actually criminal. What the hell? Huh? If this card is used as a synchro material, all the other synchro materials must be fish type. What I was thinking of is literally not possible. Just use a level 4 fish tuner, Keck W. Okay. Okay. I'll see myself out then. What the hell? What the hell? That's crazy. Because what I was thinking, I was cooking in my head already. What if we had a level 4 fish tuner so that we go... Wait, it reset my entire thing. Hold up. We go Hugin, we go level 4 fish tuner. We make Arion Paws, banish P6. And then if this is banished, so we banish the fish tuner that we used to special summon it. And then we get to add a fish from deck to hand, and then we can cook from there. But that's just legit not possible. Okay, well. Chat was chatting. Lifeless is supposed to bin P6. Then you make SP to banish P6, trigger it, and banish Lifeless. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. So you go Lifeless Leaf Fish, Foolish P6 to the graveyard, make SP Little Knight, banish P6. P6 then can banish Leafless from the graveyard. Bring itself back to add a fish from deck to hand. But then what? What do you add with P6 anyways? Like, what is your setup at that point? Any of the tuners and banish it from hand. But that you're not getting much out of it. Like if I'm comparing this to other combos that I can do with the Runics, it just doesn't seem that great. I'm not convinced. I might get my hand if I'm gonna check if these cards are cheap and easy to find. Then we might try it for like a couple games. Maybe play around with it a little bit. But I'm not convinced. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think, and I don't really understand why, but I feel like they've made these Ghoti cards very interesting, but they just forgot to give them starter cards. Like legitimately nothing I see here gets them going. They have a massive problem with that, I feel like. They all rely on convoluted combos to get themselves into the banish pile. I don't know. For some reason they decided it'd be a good idea to give them 3 trap cards. It all kind of suck. Maybe read the field spell? Sort by card text. While you control a fish synchro, blah, blah, you can only use each effect. Banish a fish from hand or grave, add a Ghoti from your deck to your hand. If a fish is normal or special while this card is in the graveyard, you can target a fish you control, banish it, and if you do, add this card to your hand. I do like that card in theory, but you have to play a lot of fishes for it, right? The cool thing about this card, particularly in something like Runick Ghoti, would be that you activate it, then you put a fountain over it, and then this thing is in the graveyard and you can like add it back to the hand. Maybe that has some synergies, but it's not great. It's not great. Yeah, it's essentially the way I feel about it. The way I feel about it as someone who's played a lot of different Runick decks, the synergy here, I feel like it doesn't come naturally between the two archetypes. I feel like while it is possible to combine Ghoti and Runick, adding the Ghotis to the Runick deck doesn't actually make it like as good as it could be, and it makes you have to work for getting your stuff. I feel like it's way too hard. They give you more problems than they solve, is what I'm trying to say, right? It's not like you add them to it and they provide a lot to the deck like some other cards would, right? Like, you know how if you add sprite cards to a Runick deck, you immediately see all the synergies and how the sprite cards help you play through interruption and all that kind of stuff. If you add Naturia to a Runick deck, you're like, yeah, I can see how, you know, this all works together. It flows really well. You can discard this Sacred Tree for Hugin and it's great together. Same is true for like even the Runick Bestial or the Runick Earthbound. Like they are very synergistic. While this one, I feel like just doesn't really offer me that. At the same time, if you want to play Ghoti for some reason, like if you're really interested in playing a Ghoti deck, then the other way around it works, right? If you're going in and you want to play a Ghoti deck, then adding Runick cards to that probably makes it better, right? So it depends which way you're looking at it. Do you want to play a Runick deck? Then Ghoti probably isn't the way to go. But if you want to play a Ghoti deck, then Runick might be the way to go from that perspective. So it depends what you want from your deck, essentially, right? And so I'm typically on the fence on the side of I want to find a good Runick deck, right? And I don't think Ghoti does that for me at this point from my first impression, if that makes sense.